What is going on, Headliner Nation? Jake and Kyle, both of the fantasy headliners, here to talk about some NFL playoffs. So we're going to be kicking it off this week with the Vikings and 49ers. Kyle, you ready for some more NFL football?
Well, after all the action that we got last week and some really great games, it's going to be hard to expect this weekend to live up to that, but some great games on the schedule once again.
Yeah, enough to keep you on your seat almost every game this past week. And like you said, a little bit more coming the same this week. We got this game Saturday on the 11th at 4:35 p.m. Eastern time. Right now, the San Francisco 49ers got about a 7-point, favorite lead there. And the over-under set at 44.5. It could be a very good game. A lot of people didn't give Minnesota a whole lot of a chance last week. I have to admit, I was one of those people. I thought they were going to go into New Orleans and get absolutely stomped by the New Orleans Saints. This is Jimmy G's first career postseason start, though. Both these teams are bottom 5 in pass attempts. I really expect a heavy dose of the running game here. A couple solid defenses. Which defense shows up for Minnesota? I think that's going to be one of the biggest questions here this week in San Francisco. What do you think about this game, Kyle?
I think it could end up being a whole lot of defense. And like you said, really relying on the run. San Francisco, we know basically all season long, switching the running backs in and out, that carousel that they've had in the backfield there. On the other side of the ball in Minnesota, Dalvin Cook has been that workhorse all season long. Is he going to hold up throughout this game? The one thing that really stands out about San Francisco, though, is getting D Ford back. If they can get him back this week, and at the time of this recording, he's still questionable at this point, but it looks like he's trending towards possibly playing. That's a big addition for San Francisco to get back. That defense is finally looking healthy again. Having last week off did them a lot of good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned right there, the pass rush for both of these teams is what really keeps them in a lot of ball games. Both these teams ranked 5th, actually tied for 5th in the NFL with 48 total sacks. I mean, they're going to create a lot of pressure for these quarterbacks. I expect a heavy dose of the run game and maybe see a little bit more in the screen game this week, the short passing game, some quick routes, get it out of there quick before they have a chance to get to the quarterback. And that's kind of where, in my opinion, things kind of lead the way towards San Francisco. I love the offense, the creativity of Kyle Shanahan there in San Francisco. They can beat you so many different ways. Just when you expect them to come in here and run the ball, it would not surprise me whatsoever because it is I'm going to do air quotes here, the 2019 thing to do, even though it's 2020. Yes, I realize that. But whatever seems logical just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So it would not surprise me whatsoever if they come out here, surprise a lot of people, throw the ball a lot. I love Deebo Samuel in DFS this week. Deebo Samuel is definitely a player that I'm looking at right now, priced at $5,200, right there in the middle range there of wide receivers. I don't hate Jimmy Garoppolo this week. And the reason I say that is just because of the offense that they're in. Like I said, a lot of people are expecting a run game coming out here. It would not surprise me whatsoever to see them absolutely unleash this offense and go out there and get the playoffs kicked off in the right way.
Yeah, and the one good thing about Jimmy Garoppolo is he's the cheapest quarterback on the slate this week. So if you're looking to kind of punt that position and move away from it to load up on stars elsewhere, that's one of the ways that you could end up doing it. Now, for me, that's more of a GPP play. I don't know if I'm playing any cash games. If I'm really wanting to do that, I might pick someone that's a little bit safer at quarterback for me. But Dalvin Cook's going to be a guy in cash games I'm 100% going to put in my lineups. Again, tough matchup for him more than likely, but we know he's going to get volume. We know that he's going to get the ball a lot. That's the one thing that we get with Dalvin Cook. So throw him out there. Deebo Samuel, I agree with you on him. He's $200 less than Emmanuel Sanders right now. So a little bit more of a value than what Sanders might be if you need to save a couple of $100s to go up elsewhere. And then the one thing I am staying away from is George Kittle. I know it's really hard to do that. George Kittle is a beast. He plays really well. Even against the toughest defenses, the dude seems to ball out. But he's the second most expensive tight end on the slate this weekend. And I've got a different tight end that I'm going to move down to, but we'll talk about that in a different episode.
Yeah, when you're talking about the DFS side of things, 100%. However, in real life football, I do think that George Kittle may be somewhat of the X factor in this game. If they can get him going, if they can feed off of that energy that he brings, that could bring them a win in San Francisco. So as far as the gameplay goes, personally, I like San Francisco to take this game. And I know it's kind of the cliche thing to do. I'm going to pick the favorite, but I loved what I saw from Minnesota last week. The defense looked energized. I just don't know if they can travel cross country to San Francisco, in front of that home crowd and bring the same type of energy for 4 quarters again against a better defensive team than what New Orleans was last week. Give me the San Francisco 49ers this week.
Yeah, and I think it might end up being a little bit more of a low scoring game, but I think as we get to halftime, it might be a little bit close. But that second half, San Francisco is going to pull away. I mean, Minnesota's been fighting for their lives for a few weeks now, trying to get into the playoffs. Then you have to go on the road, and they get a good win in New Orleans. Don't get me wrong; it shocked me too. I really thought New Orleans was going to come out with a victory there. Minnesota, a hard fought game, played very, very well. But now you got to go all the way across the country. You got to face the number one seed, a team that is now healthy after a few weeks of having some injuries. Kyle Shanahan's got this team ready to roll. A lot of good energy there in San Francisco. And I think we're going to get to the second half of that game. It's going to be a little bit close. San Francisco is going to get one big play there in the second half, and that's going to kind of put things in their favor, and the momentum is going to carry them away to a win this weekend.
Yep, absolutely. We mentioned at the beginning the over-under, started off at 44.5. If I had to take a pick there, I'm going to go the under in this game. I don't know if it's quite as high scoring maybe as those 44 total points. I can see something right around 24-10, 24-13, something like that, going the way of the San Francisco 49ers. But this is just our take on the game, like usual, just like during the fantasy football season. We want to be as interactive as possible. What do you guys see in this game? How do you see it playing out? Now, obviously, if you're a fan of the 49ers or the Vikings, you're obviously going to throw your team down there. But for all of you guys who are not homers or just out there, bandwagon your favorite team, what do you expect in this game? Let us know down below in the comment section. What is your prediction? How do you see this game going? That's what this is all about, getting everybody interactive. Yes, we're a fantasy football channel, but we're also a football channel, a real-life football channel all year long. And that's what we're really trying to get to. So if this is what you're looking for, consider hitting the subscribe button. We greatly appreciate the support. We'll be doing one of these breakdowns of each matchup here in the divisional round. So make sure you go check those videos out from myself and Kyle. We'll talk to you later.